Just 3 minutes ago, the political world was shaken. Keir Starmer, the leader of the Labour Party, lost his calm on live television. The reason? A shocking twist involving Connelly, a name that now carries serious weight in Westminster. What started as a quiet investigation has turned into a political firestorm, and Starmer found himself right in the middle of it. But what exactly happened? And why did this twist hit him so hard? Stay with us, because what you're about to hear could change the game for Labour and the next general election. To understand why Keir Starmer is fuming, we need to look at the man in the middle of the storm, Connelly. Once seen as a mid-level advisor with quiet influence inside Labour circles, Connelly's name hadn't appeared in major headlines until now. Just this morning, a leaked document appeared online, showing Connelly's private communication with a high-profile lobbying group. These messages suggested that Labour was not only aware of certain financial dealings behind closed doors, but may have quietly approved them, despite public promises to the contrary. The leak is damning. It shows that Connelly may have played a key role in discussions that helped certain corporate donors gain access to policy-shaping meetings. This goes directly against Labour's current stance of clean politics and people before profit. And even worse, Connelly reportedly claimed he had Starmer's backing the entire time. That claim lit the fuse. What makes this twist even more shocking is the timing. The leak came just days before Starmer was set to announce a new transparency reform plan. He was preparing to position Labour as the clean alternative to the Conservative government. But now, his own team is under fire for possibly playing the same games behind the curtain. The public isn't buying excuses either. Within an hour, the hashtag #StarmerKnew began trending on social media, with users accusing the Labour leader of either turning a blind eye or losing control of his inner circle. Political commentators called it the most damaging leak Labour has faced since the expenses scandal, and some within the party are demanding answers fast. The Connelly twist didn't just expose a bad actor. It raised a dangerous question. Who else inside Labour has been making quiet deals? And more importantly, what did Keir Starmer know, and when did he know it? While no direct evidence has confirmed Starmer's involvement, the perception alone is enough to cause chaos. In politics, how things look is often more powerful than how they are. And right now, it looks like Starmer is caught off guard, or worse. Caught lying. This twist has also energized opposition leaders, including Richard Tice from Reform UK, who wasted no time jumping on the opportunity to attack Labour's image. He called the leak proof that Labour's clean image is nothing more than a shiny cover for old-school politics. And just like that, the Connelly name became a symbol of betrayal, not just to the public, but to the ideals Starmer promised when he took over Labour. What makes this all more complicated is that Connelly has vanished from public view. No interviews, no statements, just silence. Some insiders claim he's been told to keep quiet while Labour damage controls the situation. Others believe he's preparing to speak, and that he may have more evidence that could be released in the coming days. One thing is clear, the Connelly twist is not over. And Keir Starmer knows it, because the real danger isn't what's been revealed so far, it's what might still come next. Keir Starmer has always been known for staying calm under pressure. Even in heated debates and public backlash, he usually keeps his voice steady, his tone measured, and his words carefully chosen. But this time, it was different. The Connelly twist didn't just rattle the Labour Party, it cracked Starmer's composure in front of the nation. When reporters gathered outside Labour HQ just hours after the leak, they expected a short, controlled response. What they got instead was a firestorm. Starmer stepped up to the podium with visible tension in his jaw. Cameras zoomed in as he gripped the sides of the lectern, knuckles white. Then, with a tight voice and eyes that barely blinked, he began. There is no place in my party, he said, for secret deals, backroom lobbying, or the kind of politics the public rejected years ago. If Connelly acted without full approval, he will be held accountable. But let me make something clear, I did not authorize any such discussions, and any claim that I did is a lie. His words were sharp. But it wasn't just what he said. It was how he said it. This wasn't the calm, calculated Starmer many have come to expect. This was a man who looked cornered, angry, and maybe even betrayed. His voice rose as he rejected the idea that Labour was just like the Tories. He slammed the media's role in spreading half-truths, and even accused certain political opponents of weaponizing lies. But the eruption didn't stop there. When one reporter asked if this scandal meant Starmer had lost control of his own party, he snapped back, "Absolutely not. What it means is that some people, who think they're bigger than the cause, will soon find out they are not." The press conference, meant to calm things down, had the opposite effect. Within minutes, clips of Starmer shouting began circulating online. Commentators called it the most emotional we've ever seen him. Supporters praised his passion. But critics, including those within Labour, said it revealed cracks in his leadership. More concerning was what Starmer didn't say. He didn't deny knowing about the lobbying group Connelly had spoken to. He didn't clarify when he last met with Connelly. And he didn't provide any plan for investigating the issue internally. That silence led to even more speculation. If Starmer truly had nothing to hide, why wasn't he more transparent? Political insiders have hinted that Starmer had been warned about Connelly weeks ago, but chose to keep him close because of his connections. If true, that would turn this eruption from a moment of anger into a cover-up, and the timing couldn't be worse. With local elections approaching and national polls tightening, Starmer needed a week of stability. Instead, he got chaos. Reform UK and the Conservatives are already spinning this as a sign of weakness, claiming that Starmer has lost the moral ground he once stood on. But perhaps most telling was what happened after the press conference. Starmer didn't take questions. He didn't meet with the media. He walked straight into a black car, slammed the door, and left. No follow-up. No reassurance. Some say his silence now speaks louder than his rage ever did. For many voters, this may be their first time seeing Starmer not just as a politician, but as a man under pressure, struggling to control a party that promised change, but might be repeating old patterns. And for Starmer, the biggest question remains, can he put out this fire before it consumes the trust he worked so hard to build? The answer may depend not just on what he does next, but what Richard Tice is about to do. While Keir Starmer was still catching his breath from the outburst, Richard Tice wasted no time stepping into the spotlight. Tice, the leader of Reform UK, saw the chaos in Labour not as a crisis, but as a clear opportunity. Within minutes of Starmer's press conference, Tice was already firing back with brutal precision, standing outside Parliament, flanked by Reform supporters and a swarm of reporters. Tice delivered a statement that was part political attack, part rally cry. He didn't shout. He didn't tremble. He smiled, the calm of a man who knew this moment was his to own. Starmer's Labour has just proven one thing, he said. Behind all their slogans, they're exactly like the rest, polished on the outside, rotten on the inside. His words hit hard, but it wasn't just what he said. It was how he said it. Cool. Measured. Confident. He painted Connelly as just one piece of a bigger problem, calling Labour's leadership a machine of hidden deals and staged outrage. Then, turning the spotlight directly on Starmer, Tice added, if you erupt in rage, it means you've lost control of your temper and your team. That line went viral. In one sharp sentence, Richard Tice flipped the entire narrative. Starmer's emotional press conference, which some had praised for its passion, was now being reframed as weakness. Within the hour, memes, headlines, and commentaries flooded social media with phrases like Starmer snaps, Tice strikes, and who's really in control. But Tice didn't stop at words. He followed up his attack with a challenge: full public disclosure. He called on Labour to release all internal communications between Connelly and any party leadership. He even posted a screenshot of a letter sent to the Parliamentary Standards Committee, requesting an independent inquiry into the matter. If Labour has nothing to hide, he said, they won't mind the sunlight. And with that, he forced Labour into a corner. If they refuse, it will look like a cover-up. If they agree, they risk revealing even more dirt. That Tice's approach was smart. He didn't need to prove Starmer did anything wrong. He just needed to make people doubt. And doubt, in politics, spreads fast. That's why Reform UK's polling saw an immediate spike online, small, but sharp. Enough to suggest that Tice had touched a nerve with voters who were already unsure about Labour's promises. Behind the scenes, insiders say Tice has been waiting for a moment like this. His team reportedly had dossiers ready, pre-written statements, and even targeted social media ads prepared within minutes of the Connelly leak. This wasn't luck. It was preparation. What's more, Tice made it personal. In his closing remarks, he said, "This is the same Keir Starmer who promised to clean up politics. The same man who said, 'Trust me.' Well, the British people don't trust backroom deals. They trust results. And they're watching now more than ever." Tice's response didn't just hit Labour, it energized Reform UK's base. Online forums and comment sections exploded with support. One user wrote, "Tice is saying what we're all thinking." Another said, "Labour's mask has slipped, and Tice pulled it off." Meanwhile, Labour's internal crisis deepened. Some party MPs reportedly warned Starmer that he needed to fire anyone linked to Connelly immediately or risk losing support from backbenchers. But the damage may already be done, because Richard Tice didn't just respond. He set the terms for the next phase of this political war, and the question echoing across Westminster now is simple: did Starmer erupt because of betrayal, or because the truth was finally catching up, with the public now demanding answers? And Reform UK gaining momentum, Starmer may be running out of room and time. The battle lines are drawn, and Richard Tice has made his move. What happens next could define the next general election. The fallout from the Connelly scandal and Keir Starmer's explosive reaction has already begun reshaping the political landscape, and the consequences are spreading fast. What started as a single leak is now turning into a storm that could shake the very foundations of Labour's 2025 campaign. And the most dangerous part? It's no longer just about Connelly. Public reaction has been swift and unforgiving. Social media is filled with anger, memes, and confusion. Hashtags like #StarmerExplodes, #LabourLeak, and #TiceWasRight are trending across platforms. People aren't just talking about what happened, they're questioning everything. Can Starmer be trusted? Did Labour know more than they admitted? Is this the final crack in what was once a stable-looking leadership? Even Labour supporters are conflicted. Some argue that Starmer's rage proves he's taking this seriously, that he's drawing a line in the sand. But others see it differently. They say if he was truly in control, this would have never happened in the first place. One lifelong Labour voter commented online, "I've supported this party for decades. But if Starmer can't control his own people, how will he ever lead a country?" Inside the Labour Party, panic is building. Party strategists are reportedly holding emergency meetings to contain the damage. There's pressure to suspend anyone who had direct contact with Connelly, including senior aides. Some backbench MPs are even privately suggesting that Starmer take a short break from the public eye, but that might only fuel more speculation. Meanwhile, the Tories are quietly watching and smiling. They haven't had to lift a finger. Labour is unraveling on its own. A senior Conservative figure told the press anonymously, "We don't need to attack them. They're attacking themselves." And then there's Reform UK. Richard Tice is using this moment to fuel a powerful narrative that both major parties are broken and only Reform represents the real, untainted alternative. The Connelly leak gave him ammunition, but Starmer's reaction gave him momentum. Reform UK's donations reportedly spiked within 24 hours of the eruption. Local Reform candidates are seeing an uptick in volunteer support. This is more than a temporary scandal, it's a recruitment tool. So, what comes next for Keir Starmer? Time is running out. If he can't clean this up quickly and decisively, the Connelly scandal could follow him into every interview, every debate, every campaign ad, a ghost he can't shake off. His team is expected to release an internal review report within days, but critics already expect it to be too little, too late. For Colin Connelly, silence remains the strategy. But many insiders believe he won't stay quiet forever. If he speaks, and especially if he has more documents, emails, or recordings, things could get even worse. And if Starmer was bluffing, During his outburst, the truth could be deadly. For Richard Tice, the opportunity is clear. This is his moment to prove Reform UK is more than just protest politics. With each slip from Labour, he gains ground, legitimacy, and airtime. And unlike traditional politicians, Tice isn't afraid to punch hard, and often, but the biggest wildcard isn't Starmer, Connelly, or even Tice. It's the voters. The British public has seen scandals before. They've seen leaders explode, backpedal, deny, and fall. But this time feels different. Because this time, the anger isn't just political, it's personal. People feel lied to. Again. And with a general election closer than ever, those feelings could reshape the map of British politics. So, will Keir Starmer survive this storm and rise stronger, or is this the beginning of the end for Labour's hope of victory in 2025? Only time will tell, but one thing's certain. The fight has just begun. While the public saw Keir Starmer's eruption and Richard Tice's counterattack play out on live cameras, what's happening behind closed doors may be even more explosive. Inside Labour HQ, sources say the mood has turned from crisis management to full-blown civil war. And it's not just about Colin Connelly anymore, it's about control, loyalty, and the future of Starmer's leadership. Senior party officials are reportedly split into two camps. One group believes Starmer must go further, that he must name names, remove long-standing insiders, and show the country Labour is serious about cleaning house. They argue that protecting the party brand means making painful cuts, even if it angers longtime allies. The other camp, however, warns that too many firings too fast will make Starmer look unstable and weak. It's like a captain sinking with his ship, tossing crew members overboard just to stay afloat. This internal struggle has frozen Labour's response. They haven't released a clear timeline for the inquiry. They haven't answered direct media questions about how many people were aware of Connelly's actions. And they haven't explained why someone with so much access had so little oversight. For a party that built its image on transparency and trust, this silence is deafening. But Starmer's real problem may not be Connelly, it may be the loyal insiders who are suddenly staying very quiet. Whispers in Westminster suggest that several mid-level figures, once trusted by Starmer, are preparing to distance themselves. Not because they're guilty, but because they're scared. Scared of being next. Scared of being caught in the next leak. Scared that what happened to Connelly could happen to them. This growing fear has created a chilling effect inside Labour. People aren't taking phone calls. Staffers are deleting old messages. Internal group chats have gone dark. A party once moving in unison now moves in suspicion. And in this silence, conspiracies grow. Meanwhile, Conservative Party strategists are reportedly gathering every possible link between Starmer and Connelly, even dating back to their early political years. They're building a narrative not just of scandal, but of pattern, trying to paint Starmer not as a victim of betrayal, but as a man who surrounds himself with shady operators. And then there's Richard Tice, whose team is actively preparing to launch a nationwide campaign targeting undecided voters. He plans to use the Connelly scandal as a case study in how establishment politics, whether red or blue, fails the public. And Reform UK is already buying up ad space across social media platforms and local news sites with one powerful message: trust cannot be faked. But what's even more shocking is the quiet talk that some Labour MPs are considering a challenge to Starmer's leadership. They haven't spoken publicly yet. But inside Labour WhatsApp groups, some are asking the unthinkable: is he still the right man to lead us into a general election? None of these whispers have made it to the public stage yet. But if even one breaks the silence, the dam could burst. And if it does, Starmer won't just be fighting the Tories or Reform UK. He'll be fighting his own party. This is no longer a scandal. It's a power struggle. A test of loyalty. A test of truth. A test of leadership. And Keir Starmer, the man who once promised to bring calm after the chaos of Corbyn, now stands in the center of a political storm. A storm that may not be over for days, weeks, or even months, because in British politics, one eruption can cause an earthquake, but the aftershocks? They can last forever.